Hi there, welcome to 90% Knitting. I'm going to call this episode 328.5 slash December special number 3 because it's not fully a whole normal episode, but it's also not exciting enough or special enough to be its own December special episode. I felt like that needed to have a really specific topic. And I just didn't really have one for today. So I'm going to just mash those two together for the excuse to just come and talk to you for a little bit, because I feel like it's been a while since I've actually done sort of a normally podcast, but I don't have a whole lot to talk about. So this is what you're getting today. And since it's today's the 23rd, Monday the 23rd of December, which means Christmas is just 2 days away, I thought I would sit here with my Christmas tree again. What you can't see is we do have a lot of gifts that we've already wrapped. If anybody is watching and wondering why there would be gifts out already, even though Santa hasn't come yet, Santa will bring his gifts on Christmas Eve. But we give gifts too, so they're out, and you can see the bags up on the windowsill. But there are other things. Matter of fact, there's a lot of stuff because my mom is here and she brought a ton of gifts. You know, she and her husband brought up all their gifts, and Bill and I have our stuff out for them and for my son and for each other. And this isn't really a large room. And so there's almost no room for people in here now that the gifts are in here. So that ought to make Christmas Day really fun with 5 full-grown adults in here. We had the same issue last year, but it'll be fun. It'll be really cozy, and we probably will not need the heat on. Least of which because it's going to be in the 50s on Christmas, which don't even get me started about how wrong that is. It's Christmas in Western Pennsylvania, y'all. It should not be in the 50s. Just saying. All right, so this is kind of how this episode's going to go. Let me just catch you up. Let's play catch up. That's a good idea, right? Number one, I should have made a hair appointment before the holidays because my hair has faded out to this really funky red color. I'm not digging it, but it is what it is. And it looks great with the light from behind because it's like, whoo, sort of like Rudolph's nose. But aside from that, I will say I'm pretty much ready for the holidays. I don't really have anything else to do for Christmas. I'm not doing any more gift knitting. I did get my daughter's hat done, and I can't remember if I already had that done whenever I did my first December special where I was doing my whip roundup for the year. If I got to show you that hat or not. I think I did, but I honestly can't remember, and I didn't have time to go back and check. Suffice it to say, I did get the hat done for my daughter, and I got it in the mail. What I don't think I did was remember to take a picture of it before I mailed it. So I didn't do that. And honestly, right this minute, I can't remember what it was even called. Oh my gosh. I'll try to remember to put that down here. And if I do have a picture of it, I'll put it in here too. But I don't think I do. I made it out of Malabrigo Rios in the Aguas colorway, which she had wanted a green or a blue, and that kind of fit both bills. So that's, she should have it by today, I think. I mailed everything really late, like last Thursday, I think. Whatever. I sent it priority. It'll get there. So that got done. I finished the dishcloths for my mom and wove in the ends, so they're wrapped under the tree and ready for her. Whenever I was cleaning the room that they're staying in, which is basically my yarn room, but it's also our spare bedroom. And as I was going through stuff and organizing, remember that scarf I wove? I don't remember when I did it. If I did it earlier this year, or maybe I did it last year. And it was blue and taupe, kind of. The warp was, if I remember, I'll put a picture of it in here. Gosh, I am so not prepared to do anything today. But it's already wrapped, so I can't show it to you. which is where I was going with this. I found that, and I'd never really done anything with it. I mean, I did soak it, but it was not a wool yarn. I don't even remember what yarn it was. That's how ill prepared I am for this. But it was really pretty, and it's kind of silky. It may actually have been a silk-based yarn. But it wasn't really something I thought I would wear, and it never occurred to me that it might be something my mom would like. Maybe it did occur to me back at the time, but I hadn't thought about it recently. So I'd never done anything with the fringe. It just still had really long fringe, which I had knotted because I didn't know how to hem stitch back then. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to just leave the fringe as it is. I'm going to wrap this up and give this to my mom, and then she can decide what she wants for the fringe. If she wants it to stay long, or if she wants me to trim it shorter, or I could seam it together and make a long cowl like I did with that houndstooth cowl that I made myself this year. So we'll see what she wants to do with that. But I think it would be a good choice for her, because being in Florida, that would be a lighter weight thing, and it would be a nice accessory for her, since I'm sure she has no use for a wool scarf or shawl, or scarf or cowl. So that was a surprise Christmas gift that I was able to, one of my makes that I can give away. I never did start the hat for my husband. I lost any interest in doing that, really, because I can knit him a hat anytime. He doesn't seem too excited about getting any more hats, and even though I think it would be nice to replace his scratchy itchy hat that he always complains about, for right now he's not getting a hat, but eventually I'll probably make him one. Which leaves the only other project that I was going to knit for the holidays, gift-wise, was the convertible fingerless gloves for my son, which I do think I told you maybe on the last regular podcast that I was ordering yarn, or I had ordered yarn from Knit Picks for that. And I think it was Wool of the Andes Superwash in I want to say cobblestone gray colorway. So I ordered that on December 1st. So that was over the Thanksgiving weekend, the Black Friday sales and such. I did not order enough yarn to get free shipping, so I did pay for shipping. And I realized that shipping kind of takes a while, especially during that busy time. But I kept checking my account, and by December 6th, it finally showed that it had been shipped. Like there was shipping, a shipping label had been created. I checked, I don't know how many days after that, and it never had moved. It was still wherever. The label had been created, and they were shipping it through DHL. DHL was still awaiting the package, and then they were supposed to hand it off to USPS. Finally, by the 16th of December, I want to say, I called them. Actually, it was probably a little sooner than that. Because I called twice. The first time I called, it had been at least 10 days since I had ordered it, and at least that would be 4 or 5 days from the time that the label had been created. I called and I explained, I'm like, hey, I've ordered this yarn. It doesn't seem to be moving anywhere. Can you give me a heads up as to what might be happening with it? I'm concerned that it's taking this long. And the woman that I spoke to was basically like, it's the holidays, it's a busy time, things take a while. Which was not really the response I was looking for. And it was almost like she was kind of annoyed that I was bothering, or had the gall to ask about my order that was, out there for at least 10 or 11 days now. So I said, okay. And I just left it, and I thought I'll wait a couple of days. Well, by day 16, in checking the tracking for this, it had gone from Columbus to Hebron, Kentucky, to Stowe, Ohio, to a distribution center in the DC area somewhere in Maryland. And that's where it was sitting. And I think it had finally, at that point, that last place is where it got handed off to USPS. I'm in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure why it was bouncing all over the place, but I called again. And I said, hey, this was last Wednesday, by the way, at this point. got a totally different lady who was so nice, and I told her the whole story. She's like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. We've had this happen with some orders. Don't know why they're getting shipped every place and not getting to their destinations, but I will make sure. I'm going to take care of this for you right now. And she checked to make sure they still had the yarn in stock that I had ordered. She said they did. She goes, I'm creating another slip for you right now. It's going to go out today. You'll have it by the end of the day Friday. And I thanked her for being so nice and for taking care of the problem, unlike her coworker. And lo and behold, I had it actually by the next day. They delivered it in the evening the next day. So I got it, and it came by UPS the second time, but I've still not gotten the first order. And she told me if it comes to just keep it, because it was the value of it was less than what they consider worth trying to get back. So someday I might end up with 3 more balls of this yarn, plus the 2 balls of kitchen cotton that I had ordered, because I had never used their kitchen cotton before and I wanted to try it. So yeah, not a great experience with Knit Picks. And in the midst of this, I remembered that I did order from them once or twice before, long time ago, and both times I had shipping issues with them. And it was very frustrating. And I do remember one time they did have to reship the item. I never got the original. It's just kind of crazy. In the meantime, I know so many other people order from Knit Picks all the time, and presumably they have no issues. My friend Sarah, PA Knitwit, she got a giant box of yarn that she ordered at the same time that I had ordered my few little skeins, and she got it in a matter of days. So it's just crazy. Like, I don't understand. But I was not happy with the way the first customer service person dealt with me. I mean, she was not outright rude, and I was not being rude or mean or nasty either, but like I kind of wanted a little bit more on their end. Maybe it's because I am somebody who deals with customers, and when they have problems with my stuff, I try to do the best I can to make it up to them. Customer service is really important to me, and so when I'm on the customer end of it, I would like to be treated likewise. Whatever, I have the yarn, but seeing as it just came Thursday, there was no way I was going to try to kill myself to knit these convertible gloves that I know are probably going to be less of a pain than I think they're going to be, but I just was not in the brain space to start working on them. So under the tree is a package addressed to my son that has 3 balls of yarn in it. I'll tell him there's some assembly required and he'll get them soon, but I wasn't going to kill myself to do them by Christmas. So anyway, that's my Christmas knitting, really, as far as gifts go. I had a couple other things I thought I might do. I wanted to knit some little knitted Christmas trees that I told you about. Those Stacy Leekfeld trees. I thought they would be super cute. I never got around to starting them, and I have no desire to do them right now. Maybe next year. They're super cute, but not there. And the only other thing I kind of sort of thought I might try to do, and honestly, I might still try to do it, is knit a small Christmas stocking. Like not a full-on, full-size Christmas stocking, but just a small one. Out of like worsted weight yarn, something that would go fast for my husband that I can hang like over here on the window, because I got him concert tickets. Like he knows he's getting them, but I wrapped the little envelope that came with the concert tickets, and I thought it'd be fun to just slip them in a stocking as opposed to having this little envelope sitting out here. So we'll see if I get around to doing that. Although my alternative idea for that is, if I don't do that, I'm just going to go get one of his hand knit socks and kind of find a way to hang it up and slip them in that, because that's what people used to do, right? That's how the whole Christmas stocking thing came about, unless that's just a story. But I thought the whole tale was like, that's what they would do. They would hang their actual socks like by the chimney with care. I don't know. I could be totally off on that, but I thought it might be fun. Plus, I mean, his hand knit socks look nice, you know, if I do it with one of the newer pairs. So we'll see. We'll see where that turns out. Stay tuned. But other than that, I haven't really been doing a whole lot of knitting on my other whips, other than I have been working on my 12 Days of Christmas socks, which I do believe I showed this one in that whips video. This is the finished one, and this is on the bedazzled base, although the red for the heel and the toe is just my bounce base, which it doesn't matter, but it's not sparkly. I guess I didn't have any sparkle skeins minis available to me at the time, and wasn't going to dye one just for this. So I have one finished sock, and then I have part of the second one. I'm actually on the heel flap now for the second one. So if I really worked on this, I could conceivably have these done to wear on Christmas if I knit through the foot real fast. But again, I don't feel super compelled to kill myself to do this. I'm a little low energy today in general. I slept horribly last night. I don't know why. I slept, like I wasn't awake a lot, but I did not feel rested, and I've been staying up later the last couple of nights because my mom's been here, and I don't like to go to bed my normal time because then that leaves them up for a couple of hours, and I want to visit with her and everything. But we did our winter solstice dinner last night, even though the solstice was the day before, because my son couldn't be here on the solstice, and he didn't want to miss the dinner. So I did it yesterday. And so it's one of two things. I either just didn't sleep well, because sometimes I don't sleep well, and I was very warm last night. The temperatures are getting warmer, and I think maybe the bedroom was just too hot, and that keeps me from feeling rested sometimes. Or the fact that I had made a standing rib roast. That's like my standard solstice dinner food. And I have not been eating red meat much at all this year. I stopped eating it back in the spring. I can count, like, I think maybe I had 2 hamburgers this whole entire time since then. And so I made that roast, and I did eat a good bit of it because I love that. It's like, it's really good. But I don't know if that had anything to do with me sleeping, but I know it has. I'm pretty sure it has to do with how I feel today. My whole body hurts. Like, I'm just having one of those really, really achy days. All the joints in my body hurt. My bones hurt. And as has been going on for a long time now, you know, with my doctor, she keeps suspecting it's some sort of autoimmune thing, but it never comes up in my blood work. And I'm actually kind of thinking it might be a food sensitivity. I don't know. Are people allergic to red meat in that way? I mean, I know some people, you can be allergic to anything, but I just wonder if I have a sensitivity to red meat. I've never been bitten by a tick. I know there's some people who have been bitten by a certain type of tick that then can't eat meat after that. That's not it. I just wonder. There's more and more. I know I'm diverging into some totally different area here, but more and more I've been keeping track of how I feel and what I've eaten, and there's a lot of things that correlate. And I think come the beginning of the year, I'm going to put myself on just like an elimination diet, like just stop eating anything that I think could possibly be causing the issue and just add one thing at a time in and see if that makes a difference. And that way, if I notice that something does seem to make a difference, then I can go to my doctor and I can say, hey, I've noticed this. Please send me to an allergist or a specialist or somebody, you know, or maybe I won't need to. Maybe if I can figure it out myself, I can just take care of it. Because I'm tired of going to the doctor for this stuff and getting no answers. Plus, I'm going to the doctors for my other stuff. I think I told you about that, and I probably never followed up on it. There's really not a lot to tell you at this point because I went to the doctor, told her about some health issues I've been experiencing this year, and she sent me for a couple of tests. I had a Holter monitor to, you know, see what my heart was doing. It came back mostly normal. I have a few premature heartbeats every once in a while, but I've had those for years and years, so that was nothing new. It does not at all correlate with the symptoms that I'm having because I had other symptoms throughout the course of that test that it showed nothing. And then I had a pulmonary function test to check on my lungs to see if I was breathing okay, and it showed that I do have mild asthma, which is new. I've never been diagnosed with asthma before, but that sort of could relate to some of my issues because I've been having issues of, you know, kind of breathlessness, like feeling winded, mostly when I'm hiking or, you know, under stress, you know, like, what do they call it? Oh gosh, I can't think of how they usually frame that. But anyway, like when we're walking, when we were on vacation and we were walking and hiking and things, like I was just getting unusually winded more than I would normally. And I have bouts of that occasionally. So she's like, well, okay, you have mild asthma. That could be part of it. I have an inhaler that I can use. But the inhaler, I'd never know when to use because I'm not like wheezing or anything. It's weird. Other than that, I was anemic. I think I talked about that. Did I tell you guys about that? Yeah, like low iron. So I'm taking iron. I'm taking vitamin D, D3, because I was also low in that. But like none of this really fits together with all of the problems I was having. So I have one more test to go for, because basically they called me and like, oh, well, here's your results, and it's always a medical assistant that calls. And I used to be a medical assistant, so I'm not dissing medical assistants, but it's like that's who calls and gives me the results. But I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean with regard to my problem? Does she think this and that, you know? And she's like, oh, I don't know. It's like, but that's not helpful. And then they never want you to come back in for a follow-up. Like, doctors used to want you to follow up, but mine never seems to. It's frustrating. Anyway, so once I asked, like, okay, so where does that leave me with the issues that I was having, that I'm still having, that we haven't found an answer for? And so the answer to that was, you know, she called back and she's like, oh, she wants you to have this other test. So on New Year's Eve morning at 8:30 a.m., I get to go have an echo stress test. So it's like a treadmill test, I guess, but with an echocardiogram as opposed to a cardiogram. So yay! Do I know how to live it up on New Year's Eve or what? I'm really not thinking they're going to find anything because I just don't think that's going to be the issue. But I could be wrong. And if they don't find anything, that'd be great. I'm actually glad to have the test though, because there is heart disease in my family. My dad died of heart-related issues. He had heart attacks, and I'm at that age now where he started having his heart attack. So I'm fine with getting my heart checked out as much as I can. So I'm fine with that. I just don't know that that's going to be where the answer is either. So that's why I'm kind of back to square one, feeling like, okay, maybe I need to find my own answer, because here we are again, another situation where medicine doesn't seem to be finding my answers for me. And this is an ongoing issue, and it's frustrating. But now back to your regularly scheduled knitting, because I have been knitting on something else besides those socks. And that is my Advent cowl. So I was doing, I purchased an Advent mini set collection from Sweet Sparrow Yarns this year. And I have been knitting that almost every single day. I decided I was going to do a big tube cowl based on the Litmus cowl by Amy Florence. So I was using this basically as a guide for how many stitches to cast on. I haven't done anything else the way she has. Instead, I've basically been doing my own thing as far as adding each new skein in. And I've been doing that by doing some sort of color work. And some of it's more visible than others. There have been some bases that don't really show the contrast, either because of the color or because of the type of base it is. Like this is this puffy little base here that has all these cute little nubbins in it, which is actually very similar to a base that I'm going to be introducing in the shop next year. Just telling you about that. This was the second time this base ended up in the collection. The first time I did try to do, where's the first one? Yeah, I did try to do like a little, I don't know, I think I did like a slip stitch thing, but you can't see it because those cute little nubbins just don't show it. So I just alternated stripes on this, and again, you can't really tell too much in there. So anyway, I do the color, then I introduce the next color with some color work. You can see it pretty well here. And then I do that color, and then I introduce the next color with some color work. So I'm up to day 23, and that's this this gray color that's in there and these diagonal stripes. See, this is one that there's not a ton of contrast. I always hold things right in front of my face. Let me go over here. So Anyway, this has been a lot of fun. I've not planned out any of this color work. I'm just making up color work motifs as I go along, things that will work with the stitch count that I have. It's been a lot of fun, and I will say that doing this much color work, you know, on a regular basis, my tension has gotten really good. I mean, there's some places where it looks sort of puckery, but I think it's going to block out well, and I'm really enjoying doing this. It's quite long, as you can see at this point. It's definitely, so here it is once, and I'm pretty sure after I add the rest of today and then all of tomorrow's yarn, and then I have the last third of the first skein so that I can do color work to blend that in with day 24. I think it's going to be, once it's blocked, it's going to be plenty long that I'll be able to double this around my neck. So that's what I was going for, and I'm just loving it. So much fun. So lots of different bases of hers. The colorways, I don't know her colorways well enough to know if they're regular colorways or if there's some new ones that she did just for this collection. Could be a blend of both, frankly. I don't know. But yeah, I'm having fun with that. So those are really the only two things that I've been knitting on. The other thing I did do, though, was some spinning, and one of my other advent calendars was the Knit Spin Farm Bat Vent collection, which was 24 little mini bats from Joanna of Knit Spin Farm, and I finished that. I actually finished that quite early. I finished it one day last week because I was enjoying spinning it so much I wanted to keep spinning, and then I was also trying to spin at least 3 days at a time because I was spinning it woolen, and that allowed me to get into a groove and have enough to make it worthwhile. But then I also knew once my mom was here, I wasn't going to have any spinning time at all. So I wanted to finish this up rather than leave it sit on the wheel until after she went home. So that's what I did. So I'm going to show it to you. It has all 24 days in it. So, I mean, you're not going to be able to tell what day is what the way it's skeined up now. But if you don't want to see it in its final form, look away for a couple minutes. But here it is. It's so much fun. I absolutely love it. Okay, you can look again. I spun these end to end, and I kept them as a single. I did not ply them in any way, and wound it off with my Nitty Naughty, and then when I soaked it, I put it in hot water and I squished it around a lot because I was trying to felt it a little bit. I did not take it from cold to hot to cold hot. Like, I didn't do that part. I just did agitation in the hot water. And I can't remember if I had like soak or anything in the water. I don't remember. I think it was just hot water and agitation. And it did felt a little bit. There's a little stickiness to it. So as I use it, I'll be, you know, winding it into a ball, pulling it apart. But it'll be fine. It's not overly felted. I got, oh gosh, I forget. I don't, my yardage is on a note on my phone, so I can't even look it up. I think it was around 300 and, I don't know, it was over 300 yards, maybe close to 400 yards that I got. I think it was somewhere around there. I'll try to remember to put it down here if I remember. But anyway, I was really happy with it. I had so much fun spinning this, and I love these colors. I have no idea what I'm going to make out of it yet, but it was a lot of fun to do. I don't think it would make a great weaving project just because, well, it would be okay for weft, but definitely I couldn't warp with it, I don't think. I don't know. For right now, I'm not worried about it. I'm just glad to have it done. I never did start my weaving project that I wanted to do with my minis from last year's Merry Month of Minis that I had dyed. They're still sitting over there in my little basket. I just haven't had time to warp my loom and do anything with it. Maybe before the end of the year I might have time and do that. But anyway, so that's the crafting that I've been able to do since my last regular episode. And it's fine. This has been a nice month in a way that, like, I haven't been super busy. I was getting ready for my December specials that I was going to be doing in the shop. However, my plan for that had to change because I was planning to alternate between things that are already in the shop that I was planning to put on sale for the December specials, and then alternate that with new items that I was dyeing specifically for the December specials. However, about, gosh, when was it now? Actually, it was on December 8th. I remember that. I did something to my neck. I was fine that morning. I got up, I was working, everything was hunky-dory. And then in the middle of the afternoon, I just went like this, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I couldn't, you know how like if you wake up in the morning and you've slept funny and you've got a kink in your neck? That's what it felt like, except I hadn't slept funny. I just all of a sudden moved and I couldn't turn my neck. And my neck hurt so bad, like straight up either side of my neck, into my shoulders, down into the center of my back between my shoulder blades. It just hurt like you wouldn't believe. And like nothing was relieving it. And it was like that for about 3 days. And I ended up with the worst headache in the world. Well, not the worst headache, but it was a very, very bad headache. I ended up taking some like migraine medicine to get rid of it. I mean, it had turned into, I don't know if it triggered that or what, but it was terrible. And it still took a couple days for the headache to go away. And the neck pain was just incredible. So then I started like taking hot showers and rolling. I have a foam roller. That was actually sort of helpful. Doing the foam roller and getting things to move in the middle of my back, that helped some. Also, we have an inversion table. So doing the inversion table, that was helpful. But it's still not 100%. It's definitely much better than it was. But it's not 100%. It's healing quite slowly. I just don't have any idea what I did. I mean, obviously, you can tweak a nerve or whatever pretty easily without necessarily having to, you know, visibly injure yourself, I guess. But it was just weird. So, all that to say, that really put a crimp in how much work I could do. I could not wind my striping patterns because I have this motion that I have to do. Winding or unwinding was just, you know, rescanning was very difficult, and it was just aggravating. And honestly, the more I've thought about it, the more I think when I was doing the 12 Days of Christmas colorway, because that one requires me to do things in a different way than I usually do. Because there's so many stripes, and I'm using both arms for the winding, and I'm not used to doing that with my left arm. I kind of wonder if I didn't trigger something doing that. So in other words, the yarn tried to kill me. So anyway, I was glad that I was able to change things up. I'm not doing exactly what I wanted to do for the December specials, but I'm able to do something else. And so the new products that I was going to roll out in December, I can do them in January and February because they're not holiday specific by any stretch. But yeah, I was thankful that I was at a position that I could just kind of take it easy and let my body heal, because boy, this is not fun. Not fun at all. So that's basically it. That's what I've been doing. I did get a couple of December special episodes done. I realized I wasn't very creative. I was calling everything December specials. December specials in the shop, December specials videos. But I did my whips roundup and I did my favorites video. So I did do those 2 December special episodes. I just haven't been able to come up with a good idea for a third one. That's why I'm kind of calling this one sort of the third, but it's not so special. Not all that special. But it's also not totally a regular episode, because honestly, I'm not doing show notes this time. Forgive me, but I'm just not. Sorry. You can find things on my Ravelry project pages if you want to, but I'm tired today. I'm very tired and foggy. That's the other thing that comes with all my joint pain, is this brain fog thing. So anyway, yeah. The one thing I did want to mention, another thing is, this isn't a program, but it is something that I am helping to do. You may have, I'm sure you've probably already heard if you watch other podcasts or been on social media. If you're familiar with the Ross Farm, which is a farm not too far from here. And see, I feel like maybe I told you guys about this in some other video already, but I don't remember when. But at any rate, Amy and Scooter Pie go to shows all over the country. They vend. They, you know, everybody seems to know them. And due to a horrible accident that happened earlier this month, Scooterpie lost his life. And it was sad and horrible, and when I saw it on Instagram, I just couldn't believe what I was reading. It was like, no, you know. And the fiber community has had a tremendous outpouring of caring for Amy and her family since this happened. Like I said, so many people just know them and love them, and you know, we wish them all well as they go through this time. But what Sarah Jordan, who is PA Knitwit, and I are doing is we came up with the idea to do a kind of like a caring blanket for Amy. And Jen from Down Cellar Studio is kind enough to be kind of sponsoring the conversation for that in her group, the Down Cellar Studio group. And I have a thread up about it in the Fiber Nymph Dye Works group as well. So if you would be interested in knitting or crocheting an 8-inch square for a blanket that Sarah and I will then seam together and put together and deliver to Amy once it's finished, we would love to have your input and your, you know, your contribution to that. I have all of the information about that, like I said, in a thread in the group, which I will link that. Again, like this feeling of deja vu. Maybe it's just because I've talked to so many people about it, but I don't think I've told you on video. And if I have, I'm sorry, but I think it's worth repeating. Anyway, we'd like to get that going. So I would love to, you know, have your contribution. I will be the one collecting the squares, so when your square is finished, you can PM me or email me and ask me for my mailing address. I didn't want to put my mailing address out on Ravelry, really, but I'm happy to send it to anybody who has a square that they're ready to send to me. We do have, the fiber doesn't matter, but the colors, we're kind of going with natural sheep colors in honor of the sheep that Amy and Scooterpie raise. So whites, blacks, off-whites, tans, browns, things like that. Any, you know, I think we said sport to worsted weight. Just so long as when it's finished and it's blocked, it's 8 inches. That's really the important part. It could be any pattern you want to use. If you have some Ross Farms yarn that you'd like to use, so much the better, but that's not necessary, obviously. It can be wool, it can be a wool blend, it can be acrylic, whatever you have that you would like to use. So there's that, and again, that thread is in my group, and also there's a thread in the Down Cellar Studio group that Jen has. And also part of that thread was that we just kind of wanted to ask people, like, if you have Ross Farms fiber or yarn and you'd like to start using it for a project, maybe you know, tag that. Oh, I think Jen has a specific tag that she had put in her thread. I'll have to put it down here. Oh gosh, I hope I remember all these things I'm supposed to be putting down here. Something stitches for Scooterpie, maybe. I don't remember now. I'll put it down there whenever I look it up. But just as a way to show the Ross Farms family that, you know, we're thinking of them and remembering Scott, because he was a terrific guy and he will be missed. Let's see. Other than that, let me think. My mom's here. I'm really enjoying getting to spend some time with her. She and her hubby are out. They just left a little bit ago. They're visiting with a friend of hers this afternoon, so I thought I'd take advantage of this time. And also, this is my husband's last day of work for the year. He'll be off the rest of the year, barring any major catastrophes that he gets called in for. But, yeah, so this is sort of my last afternoon of alone time for the year, which is a little stressful for me. As much as I love being around my mom and her hubby, and I love having my husband home, like, the introvert in me just kind of likes having my own quiet time occasionally too. So it'll be fine. I know it'll be fine, but it's funny because my husband decided now's a great time to start a project that we've been planning to do for like 3 years. And I've been asking him to kind of get on it for this year, and it hasn't happened until now. And it's building a door at the bottom of our steps, our basement steps, because we want a way to keep the cats downstairs a lot of the time rather than having them just, you know, spew fur and pee on things upstairs all the time. And that way I can actually have my nice furniture that I had from my house that's here and all covered up and not being used. We can actually start using that, like, and have a living room that we can use as humans. This is not a high thing on my husband's priority list. Like, he's perfectly fine just sitting at the dining room table, never sitting on the couch, and not having my nice, pretty dining room table out that I really like and I paid a lot of money for. I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but I paid for it. Like, it was a major adulting kind of thing that I went through after my divorce. And I had to buy my dining room furniture, and that was it. And it's like, it means something to me. Wow, I'm ranting. I'm sorry. I guess I'm a little more emotional about this. Anyway, we have to get this door built, or the cats will just destroy the furniture. So he started this project yesterday, like, while my son was here visiting with my mom, and he's like trying to get my son to help him. I'm like, he's visiting with his grandparents. He never gets to see them, you know, and my husband's just a little oblivious to that fact. It's like, oh my gosh. So now I'm sitting here thinking, awesome. This was my time off. I was planning to take time off at the end of December, have some time to just relax and knit, and now I am going to be helping to build this bleeping door that I've wanted built, so I can't complain, but it's like, ugh. He's been saying, oh, maybe I'll build this door over the holidays. Great. You'll build this door. But no, I was supposed to interpret that to mean that I will be building it along with him. I guess, apparently. Whatever, it'll be fine, and it'll be great to have the door built once it's up. It just wasn't what I thought was happening, so fingers crossed I still get some time to do some crafting, because this was supposed to be my vacation time. Like, vacation where I'm here and can do that, as opposed to our vacations where we go and we're doing stuff all the time, which are awesome too. I just never get downtime when I'm here. Gosh, I am whiny today. I'm gonna stop now because I don't really have anything else meaty to tell you. It would just be me sitting here rattling on about my random thoughts and reflections, and I need to take advantage of this time that I have before my husband gets home, and or my mom and her husband get home. Plus I have to take my husband to go pick up his car that's at the garage, so once he gets home, that's what we have to do. And then we're going out to dinner tonight, because we decided tonight would be a good night to go out to dinner, apparently. So I have work to get done before then, because we have 2 more December specials in the shop. One will be going up hopefully later today, Monday, the 23rd, and then the last one will be going up on December 26th. So you can be watching for those in the shop. They'll be announced both on the Facebook page, the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Facebook page, and the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Instagram account. Yeah, that's where you can find the news about those. I will hopefully get one more newsletter sent out in December as well, so hopefully I'll be able to mention at least that last one in that. That's my plan. We'll see how it goes. Again, the brain fog has to kind of lift before I can get any of this done well. Anyway, I hope you have an absolutely wonderful Christmas if you celebrate Christmas in a couple of days. If you're celebrating Hanukkah right now, happy Hanukkah. And I just hope everyone has a wonderfully peaceful and restorative and restful remainder of December and 2019. I'm not sure that I'm going to get any more videos recorded before the end of the month. I will obviously do one after the end of 2019 because I have all of the year-end stuff, like prizes to award and everything with monthly makes and the Whipstravaganza. But that won't be coming until in the first week of January. I have a lot of verifying and tallying and stuff to do for monthly makes. There have been some issues there that I have come to my attention that I things I may have missed in stuff people have submitted, and so I need to verify and make sure everything's okay and fix things if they're not, and I'm not sure how I'm going to do that. Oh, love it when I do something wrong. Anyway, but I have to get all that done before I can announce winners and prizes and all that good stuff. So, but that will be coming. And then you know, like I said, we have the new program starting in January 2020, monthly makes 2020, and the 20 in 20 challenge. So you can check out those threads in the Ravelry group. You can check out the video that I already posted for both of those. One video talks about both programs. So yeah, that's it. All right, have a wonderful rest of your month and the rest of your holiday season, and I will see you in 2020. Bye.